But I think it's probably more likely that you will have a long-term sustainable career if you go the route of ultimately becoming a manager than owner of a
Hmm.
place, whether that's opening your own place or buying someone else's or whatever. So, all right. So that's your entertainer influencer route.
Yep.
Now let's go let's just cover the other side real quick. So the
Hmm.
professional side.
Yep.
So this is something that we've both done. You're still doing it. I am not as much anymore, but I did do it. And so how to become a legitimate coach and trainer professional.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about it on the episode where we covered how to vet a trainer, where we
Hmm.
mentioned having like a credential, right?
Hmm.
Have some sort of credential, right, to get into in the foot in the door. But then what else? Like where do we go from there? Like I have my credential now. What do I do?
So I like making a step by step approach here. We don't need to detail the actual like how to's of it, but you get a certification because getting sued sucks,
Hmm.
right? So you should be an athlete this whole time, or you could even start as an athlete. Just exercise, right? You should look the part,
Yeah.
period. So athlete to credentialed coach to an intern, aka glorified like fitness assistant. Basically, you just got to see what people are doing. Then you go to a coach. Then you evolve into like managing coaches, and then from there you go into business development, and that's the hardest step. Learning how to be not a fitness professional anymore. Now you have to learn how to run a small business,
Yeah.
and then you own the small business and you know how to take care of all those people.
Yeah. Yep.
So being an athlete's easy. Just go and start working out.
Right. So ultimately, what you're getting at here is going this route. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the way I think of it is kind of there's like two stops along the way. You could either go to the level you were talking about of being a coach,
Mm-hmm.
and you can stop there
Oh, for sure.
and you can just be a personal trainer who has a bunch of clients, or
Yep.
even a group fitness coach who coaches a lot of classes, and you can stop there and you can make a living there if that's the route you want to go. And some people do that really successfully,
Yeah.
making a lot of money doing it if they're good at what they do. A little bit of business work ethic involved in that, and some luck too, I'm sure. But then, or like you had mentioned, you can go further and you can kind of evolve out of the actual training coaching role and into a business owner manager type role.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of where I delineate the two. And I think you could go either direction, just
Yep.
depending on what you want to do. I think it's probably easier to get into the going the trainer route because it's a
Mm-hmm.
much lower barrier of entry. You just need your credential, you need to get hired somewhere, and then you just hustle.
Yep.
Um, but I think it's probably more likely that you will have a long-term sustainable career if you go the route of ultimately becoming a manager than owner of a
Mm-hmm.
place, whether that's opening your own place or buying someone else's or whatever. Now, that's probably a harder thing to get into because there's fewer managerial positions and not everybody doesn't own a business, so it can't be super easy to own a business. Uh,
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody would do it. But if you do it, you're probably going to have a much more long-term sustainable career than if you just stayed a personal trainer or coach.
Yep. I would say that coaching is a profession and owning a gym is a career.
Okay.
Because you just run out of energy. There's no 401k for being a coach. I
Yeah.
don't want to say none, but
Yeah.
it's way easier to just work 9 to 5 coaching classes, right? But the longevity of that career is short. It's hard to do.
It's a really hard thing to do. And the thing is, you're not going to be doing 9 to 5. You're going to be doing 5 to 7 at night, five
Yep.
in the morning to 7 at night,
Hmm.
spread out across the day. And it's going to be like it's going to make it really tough for you to have a life outside of that.
Yeah.
That becomes,
Now, I will say that as a personal trainer, you can definitely make a living, a good living, working not that much.
yeah. So that's a good point. I know a lot of, well, I don't know a ton personally, but I know of a lot of trainers, even just in the local area here,
Hmm.
who work at some just like regular old health club places, and they do small group training where they, they'll have like 3 or 4 or 5 people in the training session, each paying like 40-50 bucks for that hour.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like I would put like this isn't a lot, right? But to be a professional, you call it about 50,000 a year, right? You're like that's not a ton of money, but it's enough to do what you want to do. You can like buy a house, have a car payment, like whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you live.
20 clients or 20 client hours at $100 an hour, right? That's 2,000. Well, we'll call it 40 hours a month at $100 an hour. Now you make 50 grand.
Yeah.
So that's 10 client hours a week,
Yep.
right? That's super, super doable. And if you do it in your garage, you get to write off part of your mortgage as your business expense,
Yep.
right? So your overhead it's not nothing, but it's going to be just as easy to have no cost at all. So you got to be a good trainer to be worth $100 an hour, or you have 4 people at a time who each pay 25 bucks a session, and you do that, 2 hours a day, and now you're making 50 grand.
Yep. So it is definitely doable. And if you can swing what you just explained right there out of your garage, 4 people at a time, basically paying
Mhm.
25, that's a sick lifestyle too.
Yep.
If you can actually make that happen.
Dude, 40 hours a month of work.
Yeah. Now, how many, you got to factor in, you got to think like how many times are each one of those people coming to figure in a week to figure out how many clients you actually need.
Yeah. So if I have 3 clients that come 3 days a week, then I'm like 90% of the way there.
You got 9. Yeah. But they would each need to be paying $100 an
Hmm.
hour. So that's going to influence, I mean, it could be done, but
Hmm.
that's going to influence how often they come. If I'm paying $100 an hour, I'm probably only going once a week at max. I mean,
Sure, but you're not that person, right?
right, right. So no, it could be done for sure. But I'm thinking if you had like 4 people at a time paying 25 bucks, coming twice a week seems pretty realistic.
Yep. So you need
Like 20 people that you need altogether.
8. Yeah, your math is better than mine. So 20 people.
Yeah, I think that's 20 people you need altogether
That's super easy.
willing to pay you $50 a week.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great rate for a group, small group, like semi-personal training session. You're going to get a lot of good attention as long as you can do the programming in a decent amount of time. I would argue less than the training. Like if you train them, what did you say, 2 hours a week,
Yeah.
it should take you like a half hour to write 8 workouts, maybe an hour.
And you potentially even give them like a couple things to do when they're at home, like some of the
Mhm.
aerobic training we talked about earlier.
Yeah, for sure. You should definitely do that because then they learn to be independent and they're not dependent on you. So you do that, you kind of made it.
I think so. Yeah.
Like I know 20 people that I could probably convince to train 2 hours a week, pay me 200 bucks a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. It's definitely a way to go.
Yeah. So then the other way is like you become an athlete, you get a credentialed certification, you work at a gym, and they're going to pay you like shit as a
Yeah.
personal trainer, as a group fitness coach, probably.
Yes.
And no one is like, all right, well, we're hiring for 40 hours a week. No one has that.
No.
So I would say that being a personal trainer or a coach is more of an entrepreneurial role than a lot of other jobs out there because you get your own clients, you're going to do better.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, the hard part is can you teach other people to coach those people for you?
Yeah, because then you can move into that managerial position, and then you can, like you said, become an owner eventually.
Yeah, so then you move into that managerial position, and then what you do is you work none of the time and make half the money, and then that person's happy because you gave them clients, and now you make 25 grand a year to do nothing.
Pretty nice.
That sounds like a good deal
I'll
to
take
me,
that to do nothing.
right?
I'll
To
take that,
do nothing.
and then you can
And
work
then,
on your other stuff.
well, you do the exact same thing again,
Yeah.
except this time these people all train in the morning, and then you're making 75,000 to train 20 hours or 40 hours a month because you're making your 25 from not training and your 50 from training, and then you give that to somebody else and now you make 50 doing nothing.
Boom.
Right? It sounds so easy.
It sounds easy.
Yeah.
It sounds easy.
I think you could do it in less than a month.